Hello and welcome to Boring Dad Gaming, where today I'm going to be taking a look at a new game on the channel. This is Abscission. Hopefully I'm alright with the pronunciation of that. It's not a word I'm familiar with. But anyway, this is a horror-themed detective point-and-click indie game. It was actually recommended to me by a commenter, so I went to the store page, as I always do whenever I receive a recommendation of something I'm not familiar with already. And yeah, it looked pretty cool. And as we were in the month of October, I thought it'd be quite fitting to have a look. It's not the longest game. I'm expecting probably 2 to 3 episodes, which is exactly the sort of gap I was looking to fill to Halloween this week. So that's hopefully perfect. What else? Probably that's it. I think we just get started. Ashfield, Massachusetts. A place like any other. Do I click? Oh, maybe I do. Not sure. I had lived there. Okay, so and this is probably the main character. I'd lived there my whole life in that town, crouched by the river. It was a direct reflection of the humanity that clustered within it, its flows and its virtues, whilst also presenting as a macrocosm of the human body. It had the capacity for healthy growth. But when it was infected, it could burst. Riverside, Ashfield. Thursday, August 1st, 1991. (10:07 p.m.) Left click, interact, talk, right click, examine. Easy enough. No one's using this elevator tonight. You'll have to take the stairs.
Why?
Sorry, Mum. As I've said before, I can't tell you that.
But it's our building.
That's the way it is. Can we go?
Do you want to take the stairs?
Hell no.
Well, this cop says we can't use the elevator.
Oh, that's bullshit.
And what about Mrs. Takahara? You want her to walk up 3 flights on that hip?
I'm sorry, but the elevator can't be used. I don't know how many other ways I could say it.
Then we'll go to a damn bar instead.
I'm sorry, Mum, you need to stay for the moment. We may need to ask you some more questions.
Oh, I don't believe this.
Officer Bruce. Would you look at that? Will Stanhope, what the hell are you doing here? This ain't a vice case. Hey, Hogan, is this a vice case? I'm busy, Bruce. Well, it ain't. Stanhope can sometimes be presented with different ways of navigating a conversation based on 4 temperaments. Okay. Melancholic. Organised, detailed, thoughtful. This approach focuses on the details, allowing Stanhope to get to the heart of the matter. Sympathetic. Phlegmatic, calm, diplomatic, rational. Sometimes a level of sympathy is needed to build trust before the facts can be discovered. Confrontational, this is, isn't it? Progression. Choleric. Efficient, confident, demanding. It is a human truth that people lie, and sometimes these lies can only be overturned with a strong will. Sanguine, sociable, optimistic, humorous. Fear can stall a witness. A little human connection goes a long way, so we're going to have to sort of judge the best approach to taking these conversations. There is no single approach that works best for all conversations, and Stanhope will need to use all of them in order to be the very best he can be. This game adapts to your choices. People will remember how Stanhope spoke to them and may respond differently in the future, so consider each response carefully. Will Stanhope's destiny is in your hands. Choose wisely. Okay, little summary there of what we've just had. Oh, okay, so I've got to choose what I do with this police officer. I'm going to go in with calm, diplomatic, and rational, I think.
Easy, I'm not looking to step on anyone's toes. All I know is that Luna called me in.
Why would she call you?
Oh, you'd have to ask her that. Anyway, if I can help, I will. How do I get to the crime scene?
Top floor. The only way up is the elevator, unless you fancy the fire escape.
Oh, so he can take the elevator?
Lady, I swear to God.
Okay, so is there any point kind of looking around this reception area? I mean, probably not yet. We should probably go to the crime scene first, I reckon. Then maybe we can question people afterwards. Stanhope's inventory can be accessed here. Okay. Yep. Stanhope's journal can be accessed here. Yeah, I get it. It's fine, let me guess. Systems, game options can be accessed here. Yeah. That's all fine. Stanhope's inventory stores all of his clues and any items he collects. This icon allows him to inspect an item. Okay, it's an eye. This icon allows him to pick up an item to use. Okay, it looks like a claw, slightly weirdly. Use the crystals to navigate up or down in the inventory. Make sure you carefully examine all of the evidence. Good luck, detective. Yeah, let's get into it. Come on. What do we got? Bloodstain table. Rob, I'm going to start off by talking to Officer Braintree first. Let's get a lowdown on what's happening here.
Officer?
You must be Detective Stanhope.
Very astute. Was it the coat?
Also the fact that they let you in. I'm Officer Dan Braintree.
Good to meet you.
Okay. I haven't seen a crime scene like this for a long time. You look tired, Detective Luna. Let's just go into business.
What do you know about the crime scene?
Not the most, I suppose. I was the first responder on scene, according to the landlord. The Vic's name is Serena Challenor. She's upstairs. I thought it was just a domestic.
What time was the call?
What time was the call?
Oh, just after 9 p.m. The landlord called it in.
What's his name?
Carl Laidlaw. Last I saw he was with Hogan.
Did you see anyone else?
Just a couple of residents milling around. There are no neighbours exactly, as the victim rented the whole top floor. I think this place used to be a factory or something. I think they're being confined to their apartments for the time being until we know more.
Actually, they seem to be buzzing around the lobby.
Oh, you have to talk to Bruce about that.
Have you spoken to the neighbours?
Not really. Hogan was looking after that.
Anything else I need to know?
Well, just prepare yourself before you go upstairs. It's unbelievable.
I'll do my best.
No problem.
I guess we could be conversational.
I haven't seen a crime scene like this for a long time.
Sure is. I haven't seen anything like it ever. Just wait till you see upstairs.
Worse than this?
I'd prepare myself if I were you. It's not pretty.
You look tired.
Oh, I've been up since 5 this morning. Couldn't sleep.
Maybe you should go get a coffee.
I will, but not from this kitchen.
Where's Detective Luna?
In the bedroom. I don't know what she's doing in there. I wouldn't want to stay looking at that.
Alright, goodbye, Braintree.
Later, Stanhope.
Detective Stanhope.
Right, sorry, sir.
Right, let's go upstairs and see the crime scene before we get chatting and looking at other details. Oh, jeez.
Good lord.
Her name was Serena Challenor.
I've never seen anything like it.
Are you sure?
What do you mean? Luna, what is this?
Look at her, Stanhope. Look at her. Oh, okay. We literally will. Let's examine corpse then. The woman, or what was left of her, was tied to the wall. The jaw was distended, most probably broken. Her skin was a patchwork of blood bruises. Ribs pushed through ragged flesh. She appeared to have been hollowed out, with very little besides bone and gristle left inside the sagging remains of her torso. Anything else for us to examine before maybe speaking to Luna again? That's the window, is it? Okay. Look at the painting. It was a curious parched landscape. The earth had an odd texture, remarkably opalescent. The brushwork was almost photorealistic. I personally preferred my art a little more abstract, but could see the appeal. There's not too much else to explore. Let's talk to Luna again.
Have you been here long?
About 20 minutes.
I was surprised you called me.
Honestly, so was I, but I hope you can see why. Just look at the poor woman.
But there are other detectives. Isn't Jim Lewis your partner?
He's on leave, but I think even if he wasn't, you're a better fit.
Don't understand. Do you need my expertise with evidence gathering?
Just look at her will. Doesn't this remind you of anything? Lascado prosthetics. The disappearance of Cassandra Burgess. There was a twitch in her eye between the lid and the orbital floor. There was a tiny window to the nerves beneath.
I see.
I need to get my head around this scene.
I understand.
Can you look for some leads while I'm up here? Anything to get her started?
Will do. It's been a long time.
2 years, give or take.
Not the way I'd hoped to meet again.
You can't pick the hand you're dealt, I guess. Are you looking after yourself?
Yes, of course.
Of course.
What have you found so far?
Not much, I'm still taking it all in. Sorry, it's just look at her. Can't imagine what she went through.
We should catch up.
I can't think about that now. There's too much here. I need to concentrate.
Of course.
I don't mean that I don't want to talk.
I understand, Luna. Probably more than most.
I know you do.
Yeah, well, let me have a look around. If I find anything out, I'll let you know.
Thanks, Will.
Okay, well, let's look at the dresser. Heavy wood. Okay, got the vase. It was an antique vase, rather plain but imposing nonetheless. Perhaps it was a family heirloom. What about the forensics worker? Busy. Just looking for hot spots. Good look out the window. Outside, life in Ashfield continued to crawl along, oblivious to the carnage within the apartment. What if I left-click on the corpse? That would have been tampering with a crime scene, not my style. Yeah, fair enough. Alright, let's go downstairs and have a look around here. So we've got a bloodstain. There was a considerable amount of blood staining the cloth that covered the floor. Judging from the colour and viscosity, it was still relatively fresh. Rubbing my hands in a pool of blood was not the wisest course of action. So do I have any inventory already? I've got my wallet and a gun. What else do you need? What have I clicked on? There was no need to grab it. I don't know what I was grabbing. Let's look at the table. There were pots of paints, brushes, and a palette on the table. Green paint had spilled and dripped onto the floor, staining the planks. Okay. Fallen canvas? A half-completed canvas has fallen on the floor. The image seems to be a forest, though underwater. Curious. Talk to these guys. No reason to bother them. There's the door. Broken vent. Looks like there's stuff coming out of it. Blood dripped from the broken vent. The metal buckled and torn. What could have done this? Okay, that's not going to tamper with it. Leather jacket? There was a leather jacket lying on the couch. I assumed it was fashionable, but really had no idea. There appeared to be something in one of the pockets. I found a small black book filled with addresses and phone numbers. I decided it could be useful. Okay, we're talking to the officer. What's this? Broken glass, bloody piece of glass. One piece of glass was stained with blood, as though it had been used as a weapon. If needed, it could be sent to the lab. Okay, can I bag it up? I slipped on a glove and carefully bagged the glass for future analysis. I needed to let Luna know. Yeah. Okay, what about this other glass? Broken glass, probably from a vase, judged by the nearby flowers. Okay, look at the bookcase. Held an interesting collection, though not in any kind of order by genre or author. Most of the books were of the work of artists using very different techniques. Warhol sat next to Vallejo, for example. I'm not sure about the pronunciation of that. But there were some classics mixed in, such as The Rights of Man by Thomas Paine, and philosophical works from Woolf and Craven. It was most likely a lifetime's accumulation rather than a chosen selection from a larger collection. A large collection of painted canvases, many of them framed, filled the shelving that ran across the back wall of the apartment. This was more than simply a hobby, this was a vocation. I should ask the landlord about this in order to flesh out the victim's background. Okay, well I think we go back down. We're going to question the neighbours. Probably the landlord, I think might be the big guy with the drink. Oh, they've gone. Alright. Now let's talk to the nervous looking man. The man's eyes were darting around the lobby, clearly distressed.
Sir?
Sorry. Sorry.
May I ask you a few questions?
I spoke to the other guy, the cop over there. He said I'm not in trouble. Am I in trouble?
No, sir. We just need to get a clear picture of what's happened here. What's your name, sir?
It's Carl Laidlow. I told the other guy this.
Okay, so it wasn't the fat guy.
Relax, it's just to be polite. I'd like to know who I'm talking to. You're the landlord?
Uh-huh. And janitor, handyman, you name it.
Well, let's discuss what happened tonight. Can you start by telling me your involvement?
I wasn't involved. I just found her.
So you called it in?
Yes.
And what time was this?
Well, about 9:30, I think. I don't know. The other cop said that was the time. I didn't look.
So, start from the beginning if you could. You went up to her apartment.
Yes.
You had a key?
I got keys to all the apartments. It's my building. Serena, I mean. Miss Challenor didn't have a door as such, what with her having the whole top floor. See, this used to be an old clothes factory, so you need to unlock the button to get to the top floor.
Let's be organised, detailed, thoughtful.
Is it usual for you to visit your tenants so late?
I don't know. I mean, I hadn't seen her for a few days.
I see. Was there anything in particular that made you visit so late?
I had stuff to do. Leaky faucet, a broken light. Why?
Just trying to put a picture together. Every detail is important. Please, talk me through what happened from when you opened the lift door.
Well, I saw the blood. I mean, you've been up there. It's everywhere. I just stood there for a while, too scared to move. Then I called out to see if Miss Challenor was okay. There was no answer, so I searched the place. I was careful not to touch the blood, of course. And when I got to the bedroom, I saw...
Yes?
Well, I don't know what I saw. You've been up there. What the fuck are those rope things? Who could have ripped her apart like that? Anyway, I ran out of there as fast as I could and called the cops. That's it. The whole story.
I'd like to ask you a few questions about the victim.
Okay, sure.
How long have you known Miss Challenor?
Since January. I think she moved here from down south somewhere. Said she wanted a fresh start. She's not local.
And she rented the top floor?
She said she wanted somewhere with enough space to get her painting done.
How would you describe her personality?
I don't know, buddy. She was quiet, you know. Always paid on time, was polite enough. Towards the end, she sort of changed.
In what way? Was she depressed?
If anything, it was the opposite. She just smiled all the time. Maybe she was on drugs. She hung around with some shady characters.
Like who?
People come by, guys. I didn't ask their names.
Was she involved in anything dangerous?
Maybe. She wore black clothes all the time, listened to loud rock music, all that stuff.
Wearing black clothes is hardly dangerous.
I know that, but you know, these kids today get drunk all the time, get into drugs, and her paintings were weird. Sometimes. Really oily. I don't know how to describe it.
Looking at her apartment, she seems to be an artist.
Yes, she was, and a good one, I suppose. Not just an artist, she helped run a gallery too. Sold her paintings there. I guess she brought some money with her when she came to town.
A gallery? Do you remember the name of it?
Star something. Starlit Gallery, I think. It's over in Neptune. Her and some other girl ran it, but I never met her.
Got a new location. Solid lead came.
Let's discuss something else.
Well, if you say so.
So we've done all those, I think, haven't we?
Well, thank you. I appreciate the help.
Uh-huh.
There's a nice cream stain there. Some people had no respect for the surroundings. It made me sick. Alright, well, we talked to Officer Bruce. Let's talk to Officer Hogan, maybe.
Officer Hogan?
Detective Stanhope, quite the scene upstairs.
That's an understatement. Are you finished with the landlord?
Uh-huh, he's all yours.
Well, we just spoke to him. So let's go back and tell Luna that we've got a new place to go search. And that bit of glass to analyse as well.
Amelia?
Yes, well? Bum.
I found a piece of glass that looks like it might have been used in the murder. I'll get it to Dr. Abdulov.
Thanks, Will. I hope it gives us something.
I found out where Serena worked, a place called the Starlit Gallery.
I've been there. Neptune, right?
Now, that's what the landlord says.
Can you follow that up for me?
Consider it done.
Let's do about this case.
Do you have any suspects?
Not yet. Hopefully we can find something around here that gives us a lead.
Do you think this is linked to the Lascato case?
Look at her, Will. Can you really tell me that this isn't the same way the others died?
Well, I can certainly see the similarities, but that means nothing without a proper investigation.
Similarities? Her body's been emptied. You can't tell me that's a typical modus operandi.
Well, of course not. But look at these ropes. I don't even know what they're made of.
There were fibers found at Lascato too, but burned up in the fire. They could have been there.
That's a stretch. Look, I'm not saying that I'm taking Lascato off the table as a possibility.
What are you saying, Will?
The Lascato case was horrific, and I don't want to blame you for responding to the emotionally charged media furore.
There was a momentary flare of anger in her eyes before she sighed and took another drag of her cigarette. Well, you're a good man, but you need to learn more about people. Probably that's it. Let's go. So I guess the gallery is our next stop, unless we've got to stop by the police station maybe and drop off the glass shard. There's more to be found here. Oh, okay. Well, let's talk to Bruce again, see if he's got anything to say.
Officer Bruce? Stanhope? Got time for a word?
Not really, neither do you. Let's get this wrapped up so we can all go home, yeah?
Okay, fine. Must be something else in the apartment that I've not found yet, so let's go back up. There were footsteps down there, but I don't think they were a hot spot. So I've looked at the bloodstain. Is there anything else I can do with it? Maybe... Oh, let's have a look at the pocketbook. A slim pocketbook containing names and phone numbers. If I wanted to look up a contact of Serena's, this is the best way. I just needed a first name. Do I... What's going on about this eye? Or this? Ah. Oh. Don't know. Okay, maybe a name to look up in the pocketbook, although... There was an artist's easel fallen on the floor with scattered brushes and a half-completed canvas surrounding it. Look at the elevator door. Stained with blood, okay. Got the pocketbook from there. Oh, handprint.
Bloody handprint, rather large. Could this be the perps?
Do we tell the forensic team to have a look? I don't really know what else there is to have a look at. Try Braintree again, I suppose. Let's see what else there is to do. Just click through these again. We have found that things like the handprint and stuff, even though we haven't told anyone about it. Is that going to be enough? We'll maybe talk to the guy again. Let's try and go. Clues would be good. Moth. I don't know. What have we got here? Nothing there we didn't know already. And what about if we go and show the address book to Luna? Not quite sure why it's not available in the dialogue options, but it might help, I guess. Well, so much for that idea. Show it to the landlord, maybe? Maybe he'd recognize the names? I don't know, a clue would be nice. What the game wants me to find that I haven't found already. Alright, let's try showing the address book to the old geezer. No. You know, I think I'm going to pause here. Well, I'm just going to go around and just try and pixel hunt on the screen. Which you probably don't. You probably aren't interested in seeing. But we'll come back if I find anything interesting, which I hopefully do. Okay, I think I found it, and it literally is by pixel hunting. But you see there's footprints here, right? Well, right here. You see this bit of red on this red background? I think that may be what I'm looking for. A red-stained boot print made visible on the carpet at the entrance thanks to the surrounding grime dulling the carpet's colour. It was coming from the lift. Oh yeah, there's another one there. Is that everything? Let's talk, see if that comes up in conversation. Not there. Talk to these guys, maybe? Alright. So, okay, we're following it now. There were boot prints leading from the pool of blood towards the elevator. They were relatively large, most likely a man's. Perhaps they were the landlord's. That could be the trigger to go talk to the landlord?
We found a set of boot prints in her apartment. Do you have any idea who they belong to?
I don't know. She had a few visitors, but I can't really remember them. She did have a boyfriend a couple of months back, some young punk with green hair and metal in his face. I think he wore some big leather boots.
Do you remember his name?
Oh, she called him Marky, so Mark something? I don't know his last name.
It was a start, but I need to find out a surname. Okay. Well, why don't we have a look at the address book now with that info. Needed a first name, yeah. Okay, well, tell you what if we give that to the old guy now? No. This is the best way. I just needed a first name. Well, we've got a first name. Oh, how about this? There was only one Mark in the pocketbook, Mark Torrance. I needed to look him up in the APD database. Okay, solid lead. Alright, well, let's quickly let Luna know, and then hopefully we'll be able to leave the apartment.
Amelia?
Yes, well?
I found a name, Mark Torrance. He was involved with Serena.
Great work. Can you follow that up for me tomorrow? I'm going to need to stay with the forensics tonight and scour the apartment.
Of course, make sure you get some sleep while you can.
I'll do my best.
I had enough leads. Luna could finish up here. It was time for me to get some sleep. Really? Okay. Thanks for your help, Will. Okay, I guess if we leave... Sounds like he's going to go to bed. I mean, it feels like we should probably go and visit Mark, but what do I know? Thank God. Okay. The night was unexpectedly calm. The air was as thick as soup, clinging to my bones as I fell asleep in my easy chair. The town seemed to be holding its breath. If I dreamed, I couldn't remember it, but that was nothing new. The dawn's sunlight was bleached bone. It was around the time I was drinking my second cup of coffee that I realized I'd missed Abigail's birthday again. She probably hadn't noticed. I'd never been much of a father, but she'd never really needed me, even when her mother passed away. Maybe I'd ring her later, but first it was time to visit the morgue. Dr. Abdulov had been burning the midnight oil.
Thank you for completing the autopsy so promptly, Doctor. I appreciate you working through the night.
No skin off my nose. I couldn't sleep. My daughter had a puppy on her birthday. The poor thing, for her birthday, the poor thing seems to be scared of the dark. Cries all over the night. It's like having another child. And please call me Tamir. I know it would work, but there's no one else here. Why always so formal?
If a person earns a doctorate, it should be respected, in my view.
Yeah, well, please tell my wife that the next time you're over for dinner. We'll see how that goes. Now, shall we get started?
Certainly.
Time of death.
Yeah, well, that's a difficult question to answer.
How so?
Well, looking at the relative lack of cloudiness within the corneas, I would place the time of death at between 8 and 9 p.m. yesterday.
Well, that fits with the statement from Challoner's landlord.
Yes, but the livor mortis, the lividity of the blood as it pools under the skin, places the death at 2 or 3 days ago. And then there's the soft tissue, both attached to the corpse and, well, separate. There are aspects of necrosis that could place the time of death at a week ago.
How is that possible?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
What was the cause of death?
Well, from the scattering of organs, you would assume a swift death due to blood loss and trauma. At least that was my first assessment, but the timings don't match.
What do you mean?
The lungs are relatively fresh. I mean, I wouldn't want to put them on my pizza. Yes, well, I mean to say that judging from the lack of necrosis, they largely match the time of death measured through the corneal cloudiness. The liver, however, is in a very poor state. The tissue is degrading and necrotizing at an alarming rate. Similarly, some of the skin around her stomach also carries the same, well, sponginess, for lack of a better word.
Perhaps it could be caused by some kind of acid?
Yeah, maybe if she was submerged in a bath of a corrosive agent, acid or alkali, it could, but no. The skin of her legs, while showing some lividity, is relatively well preserved. It's as if parts of her body were long dead whilst she was still alive. Honestly, it's a little disconcerting.
A little?
Yeah, well, perhaps it would affect me more if I had some sleep. Everything is a little vague.
Have you analyzed the glass shard? Was it the murder weapon?
I can't say for sure. Looking at the chest cavity and stomach, the skin doesn't seem to be cut. It's more like a series of tears. To be honest, the skin is in such a bad condition that it could have probably been pulled apart by someone's hands.
Unbelievable.
And yet true. With regards to the glass, the majority of the blood matches the blood type of the victim. However, there was another type. I've sent a sample to the database to be checked against existing DNA profiles. Maybe you'll get a match.
Thank you. What about the rope that was found at the scene?
Rope? Ah, yes, of course. I have a small section of it here.
Where's the rest of it?
On ice. You'll see why.
What the hell am I looking at here?
I wish I knew. I've sent a piece for DNA analysis, but it will take a day or two. It's organic matter, fleshy, yet run through with fibers, rather like cooked celery. It's as if a vine were crossed with a digestive tract. It has a rather tough exterior, but the insides are almost liquid. I'm aware of how it sounds. Please inspect it. Tell me what you think.
I'm no doctor.
Well, I hardly think that matters with this substance.
All right.
It appears soft on the surface.
Yeah, sometimes.
What do you mean?
It shivers on occasion, a ripple that tenses the surface, a spasm of sorts.
This appears torn.
Yeah, I tried to cut it with a scalpel, but there are strong strands running beneath the surface. It was like working around knots in wood. This was the best I could do.
These strands, are they growing?
Yes, apparently so. I'll be freezing this section soon, believe me.
What else have we got?
It's moving.
Yes, it's fascinating, isn't it? And watch this, if I use a pin to agitate it.
Good Lord. I don't know what to make of this, of any of it.
Why are you even taking the case? You're Vice.
Lumina asked me, and I have the time.
Do you?
I'll make the time.
Well, if you say so.
I'm going to the office. Can you fax the completed report to me?
Yes, of course. It'll be done within the hour. Before you go, there's just one more thing. It might be nothing, but it struck me as a little curious. The victim has a tattoo.
Is that so odd?
Well, maybe not, but it was quite recent, and the flesh was inflamed as if it were infected. It was a diamond, bright red, on the inside of her left wrist.
Noted. Thank you, Doctor. You'll let me know if you find anything else?
Yes, of course.
Clue gained. Diamond tattoo.
Will?
Yes?
Please, look after yourself.
Will do. I'll be in touch.
Okay, back in our office.
Yes?
Braintree, let me see, what was he? Was he the one? He was the one that was upstairs, wasn't he?
Detective Stanhope, it's Officer Braintree, Dan Braintree.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, sir, but a letter was delivered to you by hand this morning. I left it by your computer.
Yeah, I see.
Should I have left it on your other desk with the lamp?
I'm sure I'll find it. Is there anything else?
I'd also have a message from Officer Bruce.
Which is?
He said to say that he apologizes for the way he spoke to you last night. Issues at home, apparently. He would have told you himself, but he's not on until tonight.
Well, that's good to know. Thanks, Braintree.
My pleasure, Detective.
Desk with the computer. Oh, here we go.
I realized it was raining. Odd for this time of year. But then there was nothing about today that felt right. That rope that had bound Serena Challenor held her to the wall like a fly in a web. What the hell could it be? I tried to put it out of my mind. Abdullah was the best person to work that out. I had my own leads, and it was time to follow them up.
So I was going to look in here, yeah. So we've got the tattoo thing. Should we probably have a look at that? It was a photograph of Serena Challenor's red diamond tattoo. It was a curious design to pick. Alright, let's have a look around here. We've got a corkboard. Details. I'm not going to do all of the observations in his voice because it makes my throat a bit sore, so I'll wait for his actual direct speech for that. Details from my previous case, a cocaine dealing ring, were pinned up on the board. It was my citation for bravery from the Drummel case, 1983. I had others, but this was the first, and to be honest, it meant the most to me. A reminder that you can do everything correctly and still fail. Ben, what happened to you? I had a water cooler by my desk, although I rarely used it. It was a poster from my younger days. I had quite the interest in progressive rock in the 70s. Farm 34 were the finest example, in my opinion. Their greatest hits collective is required listening for anyone wanting a greater understanding of life. Is that a real band, does anyone know? Because I've never heard of it. It was my filing cabinet containing both current and solved cases. It was a matter of pride that the solved cases should outnumber the unsolved. A small selection of books on criminology with some historical reference books and the occasional novel. Ashfield. It was a small town, but it had certainly experienced its fair share of tragedy. It was my drinks cabinet, mainly a selection of blended whiskies that I didn't mind having stolen, along with a couple of particularly choice brands. Anything in my closet? My closet. There were no skeletons in there, though there were a lot of old shoes. Computer. It was my standard issue APD database. I preferred filing cabinets, but I suppose you have to move with the times. Let's have a quick look at the letter. It was a letter in a manila envelope. The only writing on the outside was my name in a handwriting I didn't recognize. Okay. Oh, hello. I carefully opened the envelope and slipped the letter out. It was drawn in what appeared to be red wax on a thick paper or papyrus. There was a diamond in the centre with jagged edges. A strange cluster of symbols surrounded it, perhaps an alphabet of some kind. There seemed to be a symbol near one of the corners obscured by what appeared to be charcoal. I decided to rub the powder away. That's not good. Something had cut into me, but that made no sense. I could now see a needle woven into the fibres of the sketch. Why hadn't I seen that before? I shook my head at my failure of observation. I was not repaying Luna's faith in me so far. I washed the blood away and folded the letter back up. I knew I needed to look into who had sent it to me, but I had more pressing issues at the time. I feel like that prick of blood is going to be significant, huh? Okay, well, we should try this Mark Torrance clue with the APD database, right? That didn't work. Okay. Alright, so I can't remember the spelling of his name, but it's with an E, I think, rather than A, isn't it? Is that it? Oh, I need to write record first. In brackets, do we think? Here we go. Oh, that was hardly the record of a career criminal. That often meant nothing when it came to violent crime, sadly. Okay, can I have another look at that? Drunken disorderly, 150 hours community service. No, I don't have an address to look up, so let's just quit. Alright, we should probably go and visit him. Although, unless I type in his name... I got it. So we need to look at where we need to look at where he lives. That's a good idea. 52 Carpenter Avenue, Building 5, Ashfield, blah 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 blah. Good. Okay, that was kind of cool. You don't often get the chance to sort of manually search police databases and that sort of stuff in this kind of game, so I appreciated that. Let's leave the office. Stanhope can explore Ashfield using his map. Look at locations for a description and use to go there. So we have Starlit Gallery. Let's look at it. Former place of work. That's our office. That's my apartment. Let's go to Mark Torrance's apartment. Mark Torrance's apartment block had seen far better days. The place smelled of mould as if it had been built from blocks of rot and bound together with misery. Did it say? It said apartment 5, did it not? Maybe it was apartment 3. Piles of garbage and sad, broken, discarded things were scattered along the corridor. There was a garbage chute, but it looked like no one could be bothered with opening it. Door to apartment 1. You can see that red diamond thing there. No answer. Door to apartment 2. I heard a cursor inside, then footsteps. The woman gave me a faint smile. Despite her stooped shoulders, she seemed to radiate calm. Ma'am?
Yes? Do you need something? I should tell you I don't buy from the door.
I'm a detective, ma'am. Will Stanhope. Can I ask you a few questions about your neighbour number 3, Mark Torrance?
Mark?
She leaned back a little.
Is he in some kind of trouble?
At the moment, I just want to talk to him, that's all.
Oh, well then, ask away.
How long have you known Mark?
He moved in a few years back, maybe 5? Moved here from Worcester, I think he said.
That's how we would say that word in the UK, but I guess in America it may have a different pronunciation, but I'm going to be saying Worcester.
Any family?
He mentioned his pa back home. Never comes to visit, though. I get the impression there was bad blood there.
Why is that?
Poor boy moved in with nothing more than a rucksack and the clothes on his back. I think he left in a hurry.
Why do you think that is?
Mister, I leave the mind reading to that woman with the stool in Wicker Park.
What, you didn't ask him?
She narrowed her eyes.
You don't prod at a wound that's hurting. You've got to let it heal.
What do you think of him as a neighbour? Any trouble?
Depends what you mean by trouble. Well, he used to play his music loud, put a broom on the wall a few times, but a stop to that.
What about visitors? Anyone concerning?
Well, a few rock and roll types, all metal in their face and black clothes, but they're just kids looking for attention. Give them a smile and they're as good as gold. Mark's like that. He likes to act tough, but he'll come round and help me move my furniture when I'm vacuuming, and pick me up some groceries when I'm under the weather.
I see. His name has come up in connection with a Miss Serena Challenor. Is that name familiar to you?
Yes, I met Serena a few times when they were dating. Always very polite, pleasant. She had a wicked sense of humour, very sharp. She has an interesting style of clothing, well, both of them do. So sad it didn't work out between them.
What caused the breakup?
Well, you'd have to ask Mark. I know he was broken up about it, but he's trying to move on, as far as I can tell. I think she just stopped returning his calls.
Any idea why?
Oh, better to ask him.
When was the last time you saw Mark?
Oh, a couple of nights ago, leaving his apartment.
How was he?
Normal. He's sometimes quiet, you know, but nothing out of the ordinary.
What was he wearing?
A military jacket, a bit worn, and black jeans, I think.
Boots?
Big brown ones.
There was a look on her face, concern mixed with sadness. I need to ask her what was on her mind.
I get the impression you want to ask me something.
Well, you're sharp. Look, I'm no fool. I can tell that Mark is in some kind of trouble.
At the moment, I'm just looking to speak to him.
Don't try and lie to me, Detective. I'm good at reading people. He's a good boy, no matter what you think he's involved in. All I want to know is that you'll hear him out. I don't want him hurt. Will you promise me that?
Let's go with calm, diplomatic, rational.
I just want to talk to him. That's always the best place to start. He'll get his say, I promise you.
And if you're as honest as you seem, I trust you. Here, take this.
She passed me a small key, worn from years of use.
He gave me a key to his apartment in case of emergencies. If he's taken something bad or he's hurt, I want you to be able to get in there to help him.
I appreciate that, ma'am.
Okay, so let's look at his door first. The door to apartment 3. This was Mark Torrance's home, according to the database. And the surly drunk in the lobby. Knock? I suspect he's not going to answer, though. Yeah. So let's grab the key. We use the key to unlock the apartment door. The unmistakable metallic stench of blood hit my nostrils as soon as I entered the apartment. Mark Torrance was nowhere to be seen. A trail of gore led towards the bathroom. There was a low, irregular rustling in the darkness. I slipped on a pair of surgical gloves and got to work. I mean, we should probably check the bathroom out first, right? Mark wasn't here, but it looked like he'd left a lot of himself behind. Had he been attacked, or had he done this to himself? Where could he have gone? And more importantly, why can I still hear a rustling? It seemed to be coming from the sink. We will get to the sink. Let's have a look at a couple of things in here first. There was a t-shirt and jeans crumpled on the floor. They were soaked with blood. There was trash in every pocket of the filthy jeans. I sifted through it and eventually found one item of interest. It was a handwritten invoice from the Bloodweb Tattoo Studio for 2 tattoos, totaling $30 from the 14th of June. I had little experience of commissioning tattoos, but that seemed very inexpensive. Okay, we've got the receipt. What about the gory mess? A pile of assorted viscera lay on the floor. There seemed to be an organ or two within the fleshy matter, but I couldn't recognize them. They seemed to be rotting, though the blood around them was relatively fresh. I tried not to gag. The bath was grimy, but otherwise unremarkable. What about the loo? Filthy as the rest of the room. I don't need to want to use it. Medicine cabinet. The mirror was covered in greasy smears. There was nothing of interest in the cabinet, but there was some mould. Right, let's have a look at the sink, I guess. The bile rose in my throat. The rustling was the gentle waving of glistening, fleshy leaves growing out of the plug hole. The sink was slick with blood, and a lot of it. From the colour, it seemed likely that it had been spilled relatively recently, most likely in the last 24 hours. The leaves of the strange plant were lined with pulsing veins. Each one of them quivered like a tongue. There was a lot of blood. It was thickened around the plug hole. Can we touch this? Whoa. Handprints. There was a bloody handprint on each side of the sink, as if something had braced themselves against it. Perhaps the blood in the sink had been vomited rather than seeping from a wound. Alright. Bloody handprint was smeared down the wall. I decided to leave further analysis for forensics. Okay, let's have a look at his main room. Microwave covered in brown stains. Dishes not washed for weeks. The fridge had a note on it. Look after yourself. It didn't look like Mark had followed this advice. There was nothing in the fridge. It looked like Mark lived on takeout food. It was a poorly written shopping list. The only words I could make out were beer and pizza. Didn't think taking the list would prove beneficial. What's that? Glossy paper. There was something under the dresser. It was a Polaroid. Love you. So that... I mean, that's definitely Mark, right? And presumably that's... Mind you, was... Is that Serena? I mean, I guess it is. I presume the man was Mark Torrance. He had an interesting style. It was Serena Challoner. I realised that this was the first time I had seen her with life in her eyes. Yeah, fair enough. Thumbprint. There was a bloody thumbprint on the photo. It seemed that wherever Mark had gone in his wounded state, he'd looked at this photo before he'd left. Oh, bridge. There was a bridge in the background of the picture. Probably Cobb Bridge to the east of Ashfield. Guess that was important. There was accumulated rubbish of weeks all over the table. This was about as close as I wanted to get to the bed, which was just a mattress. There was no way of telling if it had been slept in recently. Rain lashing down outside. Poster for a band, Ship Blair. I'd never heard of them. Okay, well, I think I've probably exhausted this. He'll probably tell me if there's other stuff to find here. Let's have a little look at what we've got in our thing. Let's have a look at the tattoo receipt then. Handwritten... oh yeah. Bloodweb Tattoo Studio. We can talk to the old lady again. She might have more knowledge. No answer. Okay. Well, I think we leave then. I made the call in the phone booth outside to get the apartment sealed and analysed. I doubted Mark would come back to that bloodbath, but if he was still alive, where was he? So we've got the Starlit Gallery. We don't have the tattoo parlour yet. I mean, I guess it's possible that we might need to look it up. But anyway, we have another lead, so let's go to the Starlit Gallery. The sign was brightly lit and clearly well insulated, judging by the amount of water running off it. Is there something in there? A young woman was sitting at the desk. She was reading something, a small book with black binding. Her face carried a curious intensity. The painting's style was familiar. It was most likely another one of Serena's. This one seemed to both convey emptiness and infinite mass. Well, thinking about it, that might be a good place to leave it. I just had a quick check of the time of the video. It's coming up for an hour. As I said, it's not, from my understanding of reading the Steam reviews, it's not the longest game. I think it's sort of 2 to 3 hours average. So, yeah, well, I'll try and space it out over the next, well, this day and tomorrow and the day after, hopefully, leading us up to Halloween. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, if you can hit that thumbs up button, that'd be fantastic. Leave me a comment as well. Let me know what you've thought of the game so far. It's certainly suitably gruesome and intriguing, I think, would be my main takeaways from this. But let me know your thoughts, because I'm always interested to hear them. And if you're watching this and not yet subscribed to the channel, if you could do that, that would be amazing. So, hope to see you next time. Bye for now.